What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV. This is the Origin e-ink notebook. It is, if you don't know what e-ink is, it basically will give you crazy amounts of battery life, and it kind of needs to almost like refresh. It's not going to be like, it's not a colored display, but this is a e-ink notebook, so you can take notes with the stylus. You can also use this to read books, store stuff in the cloud, store your notes in the cloud, send emails, things like that. So let's do a complete overview of this. So first of all, they sent this out to me. They sent me this as well. This is about a $25 case accessory that you can use to house your pen in here if you want to. Close it up and you can use this all, just like you would anything else. Put this over here, and that way it closes up. So you're fairly nice, fabric material on here. And then the e-ink notebook, you have a button at the top here, and this button is going to turn the backlight on and off. So obviously with it on, you're going to consume a lot of battery life. With it off, it's going to barely consume almost anything. So you really can't use this at night like this. So if it's like this, you have to have some kind of light source in the room, because if I turn off every single light in this room, you will not be able to see it. So I'll show you that real quick. So I've got all the lights off in here. You can obviously still see it with the camera, but if you were looking at this, I can pretty much guarantee you would not be able to read it. But again, with the camera, you can kind of see what's going on, but without it, you're not going to be able to. The other buttons on here there's the power button. So use that to turn this on. And then at the bottom, you get a USB-C charging port. You get a microphone, and then you also get this micro SD card expansion. So if you want to add more storage, you can add up to a 32 gig micro SD card. This does come with 8 gigabytes of internal storage as well. Now, let me go through some of the navigation on here. So navigation is really simple. It's actually dead simple. This does run Android, which is kind of funny. But it's not like the traditional Android you're gonna see, at least the interface isn't. So you get your back button up here, that'll go back to the previous step. Your home button will bring you back here. This is your recent apps button, all your apps that you have open, and you can just tap on them if you wanna go into them. Like for instance, if I wanted to go into notes, I could tap notes, and I could hit the back button if I wanted to, or go home. You also have this is just kind of like a refresh whatever's going on there. You have the clock at the top in the middle. You then have this button, which is going to allow you to adjust the screen. If you want to make it brighter, you just tap this button, or darker. And then you have the color temperature, the contrast, the threshold, and then you just touch the pluses and minuses next to it. In order to do that, you can turn that front light on and off real quickly. But if I were you, I would probably just use the button at the top. It makes things a lot simpler in that regard. To get rid of this, back button doesn't get rid of that. So just tap anywhere on the screen and it'll get rid of whatever you have on the screen. Then you have Wi-Fi. You tap on that Wi-Fi button at the top there, and that'll show you up any Wi-Fi that you have. And then from there, you have your settings and battery life. So settings, you can turn on and off Wi-Fi. You can go into display and control that stuff in here. You can change the sleep on there from 5 minutes all the way down to, actually 5 minutes is the shortest amount of time. You can also have this so the screen never turns off. You have sleep screen, so what screen will it go to? I have it by default. You saw it was like that weird, like just kind of showing off the name of this tablet, but you can show your calendar or your current screen or a sleep screen. Horizontal display, you can orient it so it's clockwise or counterclockwise. Next we have storage, screen lock, you can set a password if you want. Languages and input, you can change that if you want. Date and time, automatically it's going to set it based off of the network that it's connected to. You have developer options just like you would on Android, so if you want to do a little bit of hacking or whatever you want to call it, just customization on there. System, you can come in here and check for updates if there are any. Right when I started it, I did have a update for this, so it was really easy, and I got that all situated and set, and everything's good with the update. It has 2 gigabytes of RAM, runs Android 8.1, has a quad core 8300 processor. And then you can also come down here to reset the tab to the notebook. Back at the home screen, you have create notes, because you can use that little pen that I showed you right here to create handwritten notes. You have books. So if you want to add books directly onto this, because this has obviously an e-reader, you would have to put them on the SD card, put them in here, and then you could just, EPUB files or whatever, and you could read them right on the screen here. But there's another app you can get, and I'll show you where that is. You have your calendar. So on your calendar, you can put, things from your calendar in here to use. So and when you navigate with this notebook, you can use your fingers just like I'm using, or you can use the pen. So if, hey, maybe June 30th is coming up, I'm going to tap on that. I can hit create, and I can do create event or create note. And then from there, I have, title. I'll just say doctors. How about that? Oops. Doctors. And then you choose the time and date and all that. And then when you're done, just hit the checkbox and hit back on here. And you can see right there, it says doctors down there. So now my appointment is in the books. Going back to the home screen. Lastly, you have tools. You click on tools and you have your notes, just like you did before. You have all that stuff up there, but then you also have files. So you can look through your files if you want, and it's loading up. So I don't have any files going on here, but if I did, they would show up right there. I have some apps that I downloaded. I have an e-ink browser. I have images, which I don't think I have any images unless they put them on here. Yes, I don't have no images, but I guess you could look at some images. I have Kobo Books, which is a bookstore. And then I have the Mobistore. This is their app store. So here's all their reading apps that you can download. If you're a Kindle person or whatever, you can get that stuff in there. You can go to your tools app and you got calendars. You have your email app if you want. They have the Blue Mail app in there. You have a calculator, so we'll download the calculator. I didn't do that one yet. And this will be good too to show you. It downloads pretty quick. It asks you if you want to install it or cancel, so I'm going to hit install. And the install is all done. Dropbox, if you want to sync up your files to the cloud, you can easily do that with Dropbox. And then lastly, you have templates. This is going to be templates for different note-taking things that you can use. And you just click on it and download it and you're good to go. So going back to the home screen, let me show you one of the key features here. You have notes. I created one note so far. So if you hit create another note, I can do it vertical or horizontal. Horizontal would be like that. I'm going to do it vertically. So I'm going to tap vertical. And I can immediately just start writing. And my handwriting is like a 2-year-old, so be prepared. I'll write in cursive my name. So Greg, and then you can go over here and click different things to change the different pen styles. If you want to do a shape, how thick of a pen stroke you have all that stuff in there. And then you also have the eraser button if I want to erase it. Next we have this one, which is going to be, I click that, and it basically allows me to cut it, copy it, delete it, whatever. So maybe I want to copy it. I can copy what I just did right there. Different fonts if you're typing or adding, if you want to add an image. And then this is going to add kind of like a notebook feel, for instance. So maybe I want it to look like a notebook when I write. And writing on this is pretty fluid in terms of there's not a huge delay. Really not any delay. It's pretty spot on in terms of writing on it. I feel like there's maybe a half a millisecond delay, but ultimately it works pretty well on here. And it looks, kind of like you're writing on paper with a black marker or black pen or something like that. It does a great job at that if you're taking notes, if you want handwritten notes. And it automatically saved it when I got out of it. And here's the other note I did before. So I can tap on that. My name is Greg O'Connell. Please let me know when you would, I don't even know what I wrote there, like to be home, whatever. But yeah, you can look up your notes and stuff like that if you want to. Going back into tools, let's check out some of these other apps that I downloaded. So we have the e-ink browser, so I'll load that up. Here's Google, what Google looks like. And then let's just type Greggles TV. Obviously using this isn't as smooth as like a traditional iPad or some other tablet, because this is a totally different product from that for the most part. It can do some of the same stuff, but I mean, it's like, it's almost recreating the page every time I move it, basically. So I'll bring up my YouTube. We'll see if it will launch YouTube. And then let's just try to play a video, see if it plays. There you go. It is playing a video, but it's like playing the advertisement of it. But obviously you couldn't watch videos on this. There's no sound on here, so I'm not able to do that. But you could theoretically watch a video on here if you wanted to. And then here's my website on here if you want to see what it would look like if you read an article on here. I don't know if it's easy. Oh, you can, yeah. So you can pinch in and zoom in to easily read what's going on here. So you could theoretically use this as a tablet. I mean, a little bit, I guess, right? You got your calculator that I downloaded, so let's run that up. And let's do 8 times 5, 40. That works great. 2398 divided by 14. So simple tasks like that work completely good. Here's books. I have the Kobo Books app, just so you can see if you wanted to use this as an e-reader, you would be able to do that. Here's the Stephen King book. So reading books would be, I guess perfectly fine for most people on here if they wanted to read books. So after using this for a bit, it's definitely an interesting product. It's a product that is e-ink, so potentially you can get amazing battery life, especially if you don't use the backlight. The backlight is on. I personally need the backlight if I have lighting on in the room or off in the room. I just personally need it. It's for me, I think for an older person, this is definitely not a product they should get. For someone that's young and that wants something a little bit different, I think potentially this is a great product for you, or really a cool product. Maybe not great, but like a cool product. I like that it has the App Store. Using something like this over a traditional tablet obviously is interesting. Again, I think interesting is a very key word for this thing, because it is it's got e-ink, so it's not super smooth like a tablet can be or a phone can be. It's meant for the battery life of the whole situation of, turning off the backlight and just using this for days and days and days and days and days, and not have to worry about the battery life. So if you want to pick one up, I'll link it down below, but that is my little overview review of this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys down the road.